Wanna sit around and wait. Thin skin, I'm underwater. Is this really happening? You stay silent, you don't mind. Happiness of dollar signs to you. What about not stealing anyone's time? Days, weeks, and years to come.
Perfect. Yum.
Happy birthday to Mom. Happy birthday to Mom.
Happy birthday, dear mommy. Okay, make a wish, mommy. Here you go.
This, no.
No.